So, your site passes Core Web Vitals. Your largest contentful paint is green. Interaction index paint? Green. Cumulative layout shift is perfectly green. Literally every single box is checked in your dashboard. So, why on earth did your rankings still drop after the last core update? Well, we're going to answer exactly that today. Welcome to The Explainer.
If you manage search performance for a living, you've probably stared at this exact problem recently. You're an experienced professional, right? You know how to read Search Console. You know passing Core Web Vitals is essentially table stakes for a solid technical foundation. Yet, despite having those pristine green metrics, traffic on your high-value pages has just started to bleed. And honestly, the most frustrating part is that there are no clear errors, no manual actions, no obvious content quality issues. The dashboard says you're perfectly fine, but the actual SERP performance, it's telling a totally different story. Look, we aren't dealing with some mysterious new ranking factor here. We're actually dealing with a fundamental change to the foundational math of an old one.
The data is pointing to a really clear mechanical shift here. Passing individual metrics just doesn't mean what it used to. Google has quietly shifted away from grading LCP, INP, and CLS as completely independent metrics. Instead, what we're seeing is a system where these elements are calculated into one composite page experience signal. And while this was largely unannounced, this mechanical shift means that if you've been relying on the old rules of optimization, well, your strategy is currently incomplete.
Okay, let's dive right into this analytical breakdown. We're going to cover 1. The paradigm shift. 2. Old versus new mechanics. 3. The AI connection. 4. Diagnosing the data. And finally, number 5, the required action steps.
All right, Section 1, the paradigm shift, from checkboxes to a composite score.
For years, we've all treated Core Web Vitals like 3 completely separate pass or failed checkboxes. You'd optimize LCP, then you'd work on INP, and finally, you'd stabilize your CLS. As long as each metric individually cleared Google's threshold, you were good to go. But that old model is actively holding you back now. You really need to view this new model less like a checklist and more like a high school GPA. Every single metric contributes to one overall score. If you fail INP by even a tiny margin, it doesn't just cost you points on INP, it actively pulls down the average of your entire technical page experience signal, which of course heavily diminishes the value of your perfectly green LCP and CLS.
Moving on to Section 2, old versus new mechanics, the 2 out of 3 trap.
Now, what's really interesting here is how this mathematical shift penalizes pages that used to be considered completely fine. Under our old mental model, getting 3 out of 3 green metrics meant full credit, right? But if you got 2 out of 3 green, you probably assumed it was mostly fine. Maybe a minor deduction, but absolutely nothing catastrophic. Well, under the new composite model, 3 out of 3 is now literally required for a genuinely strong technical signal. That 2 out of 3 green, it no longer results in just a minor deduction. It results in a real, substantial technical hit. Because that one failing metric is weighted into the whole signal, it just drags the entire page down. So sites that are passing all 3 cleanly are pulling ahead much faster than the old model would have ever predicted.
Section 3, the AI connection, why this is happening now.
The shift actually perfectly aligns with the massive push we saw at Google I/O. Google is heavily investing in AI overviews, AI mode, and these advanced agentic features. And all of those require pulling and synthesizing content in real time. Think about it. A page that loads slowly or has a layout that unexpectedly shifts around isn't just annoying for a human visitor anymore. It's actually a highly unreliable source for Google's AI systems to instantly ingest, cite, and summarize. So raising the bar on combined technical performance makes total sense from an engineering standpoint. Faster, highly stable pages are just much more usable for the AI layer that is now sitting right on top of the traditional search engine.
All right, Section 4, diagnosing the data, finding the signature pattern. Listen, you cannot diagnose this from memory or by just casually glancing at the top-level dashboard. You really need to pull the data and look for a very specific signature. When you're looking at your Search Console exports, you are actively hunting for this 2 green, 1 red, or 2 green, 1 yellow pattern. Notice the stark difference between the blog group and the services group here. It's almost always your highest value money pages, service pages, pricing tiers, heavy e-commerce categories that show this exact pattern. And why is that? Well, because they're usually loaded with tracking scripts, heavy images, and third-party tags. So they look fine on the surface, but under the hood, a single metric like CLS, for example, is quietly failing and dragging down that composite score. And that leads directly to a drop in rankings even if you've made 0 changes to the actual content.
Now, the reason we need to identify this stuff immediately is due to Google's current update cadence.
Throughout 2026, we've seen core updates landing roughly every 6 to 10 weeks. We had one in March, we had another one in May. So based entirely on that established rhythm, the next major core update rollout is realistically expected right now in this June to July window. If your technical performance is being weighted as a composite score, that algorithmic pressure isn't just going to go away. It's going to compound in this imminent rollout.
Which brings us to Section 5, Required Action Steps, your technical sprint.
All right, here is your exact operational workflow. Step 1, pull your Core Web Vitals report and group it by URL. Remember, you are specifically hunting for that 2 green, 1 red signature. Step 2, run PageSpeed Insights specifically on your top 10 highest converting pages. Do not just test your homepage and call it a day. Step 3, fix the worst performing metric first. If INP is red, put absolutely all of your engineering resources right there. Do not waste time polishing the metrics that already pass. Step 4, confirm the fix using actual field data. And Step 5, calendar a recheck for late June.
So the absolutely crucial point here is this number, 28. Step 4 just mentioned confirming with field data, right? Well, it's imperative to remember that field data, the real user data that actually feeds Google's evaluation, takes 28 days to fully refresh. So please do not panic if your developers push a fix. Your lab scores instantly jump to 100, but Search Console's still showing errors the very next morning. It takes a 28-day rolling window for that composite signal to fully recalibrate in Google's systems. You really just have to be patient with the validation process.
We've covered a lot of technical ground today, from this major transition to a composite score, to the underlying AI infrastructure demands driving it, right through to the exact workflow you need to fix it. So I'll leave you with this. Have you actually checked your highest value money pages for that 2 green, 1 red pattern yet? You've got to stop trusting those top-level green check marks and really dig into the URL groups. If this explainer saved you from chasing the wrong optimization metrics today, please drop a comment below with your worst performing core web vitals, whether that's LCP, INP, or CLS, and I'll reply with exactly what I'd prioritize fixing first on a page like yours. Keep your analysis data-driven, and we'll see you next time.